Join me for Season 3 as we take a closer look at the exciting world of independent film.
Brought to you in part by Boston Pizza, come and get it all, the Regina Automobile Dealers Association, and Kings Park Speedway, we're kicking asphalt.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of In Gear, the show that puts you in the driver's seat. I'm Joey Hattisbeck. Welcome. We've got lots and lots for you tonight. We're going to go back to a classic Barry's Automotive Adventure. We've got that coming up a little bit later on as well. We are going to be, there we go. All right, now, welcome to another edition of the show that puts you in the driver's seat. As I was saying, Barry's Automotive Adventures tonight, we're going to go back to a classic adventure, back to the very first show. We're going to talk to Glenn Sally and Sally Racing a little bit later on. Also, Paul Leitner is going to be continuing the Racer's Edge, the building of a cast car sportsman. We're going to get to that. Want to remind you to come on down to Boston Pizza a little bit later on. We're going to be down and you can come and chat with us in regards to cars, automotive. You can chat with our special guest tonight, who I'll introduce in just a moment. We can talk about racing, anything you like. We're going to be at the Quant Street location tonight. Also want to say a big thank you very much to Wheaton Pontiac. We got to come out and play around with their brand new 2000 Corvette the other day, and we're going to see a little bit of that maybe down the road. So thank you very much to the folks there. And as well, last thing before we get into the show, want to remind you, you can email us here at channel7@cableregina.com if you've got comments or suggestions, or just want to say hello. Give us a line here on In Gear. Tell us what you think. Let's introduce our special guest right now. Dale Griffin back with us again. We kind of cut you off a little bit the last time we did this when it was Garth's going away. We kind of brought a whole bunch of people on for those that didn't get a chance to see it, and you didn't get a chance to really wrap up, so I gave you a call, and we're going to do this again. So thanks very much for being on tonight.
Oh, happy to be back again.
You're going to be our resident expert in a lot of different fields. It's kind of nice for me. We can do 2 or 3 or 4 shows along the line and all the different things that you specialize in. So what we're going to do tonight, folks, you can kind of see out on the table, we have got mufflers, and we've got catalytic converters, and we've got shocks and struts. So that's what we're going to be talking about this evening. Dale, let's start with the big silver one right here that is on camera right now. That, of course, we all know is a muffler. We've seen that one dragging on the ground and bouncing around and all the different things that happen to mufflers.
Yeah, that happens a lot to some vehicles around town here. I've seen quite a few of them coming in and dragging on the ground or held with bungee cords or duct tape or something, trying to hold them up out of the way.
I think a coat hanger is probably the preferable one, though, isn't it?
Right. Anything that's more solid like that, like duct tape or bungee cords, will melt. You don't really want that underneath your car. Does happen to fall off, use a coat hanger, something metal to hold it up.
You know, we're making a little bit of fun of that, but that's the case. I mean, it's always not going to fall off right in front of the Midas shop. You're going to have to come down, folks, and get the muffler, and you don't want to drag that all the way. So it's serious that you can use a coat hanger or something else to get it up there to get it down to the shop.
Oh, definitely, especially if it's leaning towards the front end of the car, because you're usually driving forward. You don't need it digging into the ground, because it can cause a lot more damage than just a broken muffler, a broken pipe.
Let's talk about some of the signs so that it doesn't start falling off. What can you look for? Can you get underneath your car, look for some specific spots that is going to be a sign that it's going to start coming off?
Basically, like, just get anybody to take a look at it. Check it yourself as well too. Just take a general look underneath the car. Check for any major rust spots, any cracks like that in the pipe, any cracks in the seams of the muffler, anything like that that doesn't look right to you is probably not going to be right.
How far up the car do you want to go? Do you want to start right up where it's coming out from the engine, or a lot of the times is it going to be coming off? Is you going to see a lot of the wear and tear at the back, closer to the actual muffler itself?
Depends on the vehicle. Some vehicles have mufflers right at the back of the car, so it's easy enough to look right underneath your back bumper and you can see the muffler right there. Some cars are up in the middle, a little bit lower down, you can't quite see everything. So if you want to take a look yourself, just look as much as you can. Check for any broken hangers or anything like that as well too.
Biggest contributor going to be rust underneath the car, and anything you can do to prevent that from happening? Maybe make it last a little bit longer?
Not really, no. There's not a lot you can do. Just the amount of water that actually goes through your exhaust system is fairly major. 1 liter gas you burn, you produce 1 liter of water. So you figure in a day, you know, do a lot of driving, you're putting a lot of water through the system. Plus the amount of, like just in the exhaust gases themselves, it's got the sulfur and everything else building up in there, and just eats away at the system.
Unfortunately, a lot of the times it's not coming from the outside, the rust is coming from the inside.
Right, like the muffler may look, you know, fairly decent from the outside, but the inside is rusted away.
How long can you usually get out of a muffler? I bought a new van a couple of weeks ago. It's a 97. Should I start to worry? Should I start to check it out already?
I'd probably say no. It depends on the mileage of the vehicle. Anything over 40, 50,000 K, you should probably just get it looked at, get your catalytic converter checked, and just for any soft spots. But more than likely, a lot of the systems now coming from the factory are stainless steel type of pipe and muffler, or they've got a nickel alloy in the pipe itself, so they do tend to last fairly much longer than the regular ones would.
You're talking about the way that this one looks. I'm just going to hold this up, and we're gonna come over here, and this is fairly heavy, and there's not a lot on the inside, but as you said, stainless steel. Oh, I got to get the Rhino facing the right way. Jeez, I had the Rhino upside down. That's no good. So again, a lot can go wrong on the inside as much as it can on the outside.
Right, you got, like on the inside of the muffler there, you've got anywhere from 3 to 4 tubes on the inside that are perforated to allow the exhaust gas to circulate. You've got anywhere from 1 to 4 baffles that are actually in that actually help slow the exhaust down. That actually helps keep it quiet. And then there's like 2 layers to the outside of the muffler as well too. So there is stuff inside of there as well. It's not just a hollow chamber.
So for the cars I hear running down the street that you can hear them coming a couple of blocks away, what's going wrong on the inside, or is it some of the baffles coming apart? Is that what the deal is sometimes?
That could be how they want their car to sound as well too.
No, that's part of it, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. I mean, some guys exactly, they want that sound, and you don't let it go to pieces and then get that sound. You want to go out and buy the right muffler to make that, right?
Like if you hear cars coming down the street and they're just loud, we get people coming into the shop saying it sounds like a tractor, it's just too loud. That can be anywhere from the exhaust manifold right to the back there with a hole in it or broken pipe or anything like that.
Not so much from the muffler sometimes itself, but from the pipes coming back from the engine or out to the tailpipe as well?
Could be anything like that, like a broken exhaust manifold, a gasket that's burnt out. There's a lot of stuff other than just mufflers in there.
So I want to make my car sound good. Let's go the other way. Okay. It's supposed to sound that way. Some performance mufflers out there, and do you guys handle some of the performance
stuff? This is actually one of our performance mufflers right here. Very free-flowing. We do carry different lines of performance mufflers as well too. It all depends on what kind of noise level you want and price-wise you're actually looking to spend for an exhaust system for it.
I had you had put some on for me last year, and great mufflers, and for the race car they actually sound really, really good. Rhino is the line that Midas specifically sells. They've been around for a while, but it's a line that they've really promoted in the last couple of years.
Actually, the Rhino system is actually used by CASCAR, the national, the Canadian Stock Car Association there. A lot of other ones do specifically say you must use this muffler number, and most times it is a Rhino actually.
To get that better sound, what is it on the inside that gets that? Is it the amount of baffles that are in there?
It's the amount of baffles, also the way that muffler is actually designed. A lot of mufflers actually you have to follow an S shape through the muffler for the exhaust gases to flow through. A performance one, most times your exhaust will come in one side and go basically directly out the other side. There is some baffling in most of them, but there's a lot freer flowing is where you get your performance from.
We've talked a lot about the mufflers as part of the exhaust systems, but there's some other parts to it as well.
Oh,
we can get into headers, but it starts right, your manifold. A lot of the things are going to be part of your exhaust system, so you don't have to just look at the back and underneath your car when you're talking about exhaust.
Right. If you do hear any, like underneath your hood, if you do hear any ticking noises, it could be a lifter noise, but it could also be an exhaust manifold that's burnt a gasket out or has got a crack in it or anything like that as well too. anytime you're underneath your hood, you can just start it up and listen for any loud noises under the hood as well too. You can find a lot of leaks like that.
Now, obviously want them to come down and do some stuff at Midas, but can guys do this in their backyard? It's tough to get underneath there. I mean, unless you got welder and everything else, it's tough.
Right. You can buy tools to do it at home. I've heard a guy spending 3 or 4 days to change a muffler, bring it down to us, half hour, an hour later, you're on your way. Convenience-wise, it's a lot easier to get anybody to change it for you. You're up in the hoist, you got compressed air, you've got the proper tools to do it, you got a torch, everything else you need to change it.
I've seen when you were doing some stuff for me on the cast car, you had to do some creative bending in the pipe. Yeah, that's got to be a big part of your guys' day, is getting that pipe to go up underneath and make sure that it's fitting the right way and that it's not going to rattle, not going to make a bunch of other noise besides exhaust noise.
Right. Like I do a lot of custom exhaust as well too. We do a fair bit at both of our shops actually. Like that can be anywhere from like 1.5 inch exhaust pipe up to 3 inch, which I did on your stock car there last year. And you have to know what you're doing. That's not really something you can do at home. If you want custom exhaust, you have to go into a shop to get that done. You need a pipe bender and everything else to do it properly.
Yeah, I think you can see some guy working in his backyard trying to bend pipe on a rock, and that would just be wrong.
Wouldn't work.
No, I don't think so. Some other things we want to get into, catalytic converters. We might as well talk about that a little bit. We've got one there, and I'll get you to hold that up.
This one up here.
The dreaded catalytic converter came in a while ago, but it's here to stay for sure.
Yeah, it's actually been around for quite a long time. Basically, since when they started the fuel injection and that kind of stuff, they started coming out with this. And also for the energy crisis back in the 70s and stuff there, where they were really worried about gas mileage, is when the converters and stuff really started hitting everything. Basic job of it is actually take the exhaust gases. The inside's got a core in it, a honeycomb core, and it actually gets hot on the inside, probably between 800 and 1200 degrees on the inside of it. And
just turn around a little bit as well so we can see. It's not a lot different on the back, but some of the different, what are these coming out on the side here?
Those are actually inlets for fresh air. Some vehicles do require fresh air to be pumped into the converter to help the burn on the inside there. This has got a dual one. Some vehicles just have a single one. Some don't have them at all. It all depends on what the motor requires.
A lot of guys started cutting those off. Not something you want to do, is it?
Depends on the vehicle, what you got. Some foreign vehicles don't run really well without them. A lot of vehicles you can take them out, but emissions-wise, you're worried about the air and stuff and kids and stuff, you should actually have them in the vehicle.
And can you get performance? I guess there's not really performance. That's kind of a silly question. There's not really performance, or is there? Actually,
no, you can get a performance converter. They are probably a little bit more money than like say a stock replacement one is going to be, but it's going to give you a lot freer flowing. Like this is actually the inside of what's actually on the inside of this converter here. It's a small honeycomb. I don't know if they can really see.
Yeah, if you hold it right there, we can come in a little bit on that. You had mentioned you brought parts and pieces of one that was on the inside.
Right. This is actually a converter that I actually took out of a pipe. It was actually broken up on the inside of the converter, and you can actually see the little honeycomb and stuff there. The exhaust actually passes through that. So that's why they say converters can be restrictive. So you've just got your exhaust going through those little holes there. Performance ones they usually come with a larger honeycomb in them, or a different style of honeycomb actually in them.
When you start to replace or repair, can you really repair a catalytic converter? Can you get in there and fix it up at all?
No, unfortunately not. On the inside there, when they break up like this piece here did, there's nothing you can do about it but replace it or remove it, one of the two.
You and I like speed, so we're going to have to talk about dual exhaust. But what we're going to do first is we are going to go on a classic Barry's automotive adventure. And we're going to go back to the very first show. Barry went and talked to Glenn Sally from Sally's Racing, and we have got that for you right here on In Gear.
Hi, Garth. You never know the amazing things you find behind a closed garage door. In this case, it's a monster. It's a drag car. It belongs to and is driven by Glenn Sully. It's called Non-Toxic 2. Glenn, tell us about it.
It's a 91 Camaro IROC Z. It's got a 700 cubic inch engine in it, Barry. It's the world's fastest propane-powered car. There's no other propane car that's ever run in this class that we run in Pro Mod Racing, capable of going 198 miles an hour at 7.35 seconds.
That's got to be an incredible jolt when you start. What's it like when you finish?
Just like going through a brick wall, Barry.
All right, this is absolutely tremendous. Let's take a look inside. power plant, ladies and gentlemen, and as you said earlier, 700 cubic inches of pure power. Explain that engine for us, Glenn.
Okay, it's a 700 Chevy engine. It's all aluminum, Sonny Leonard's block with a Pontiac Pro Stock head. On top of this engine, we got two 600 IMCO propane mixers. And then on the side, we have four Model E converters. One of those is capable of running a 454 engine. We run four. One of these is capable of running industrial engines, big industrial engines, and we run two of them.
That is absolutely incredible. Now, when you are on site racing, you finish a run, you take everything, do you tear everything down or do you just tweak and tune?
It's mostly just tuning the engine. We do a compression check of the engine. We make sure the motor's not hurting after a pass, and just checking everything over and make sure everything is right. We want to make sure when we hit the nitrous that the motor's not hurting.
All right, something else I wanted to ask you. You're running propane, which is an alternative fuel. You're the only one in the world doing that. Is there any sacrifice that is being made in speed or mile per hour and seconds?
Yes, there is. As me determining what there is, we haven't established that, but we just try and do everything the best. We have to do it better than everybody else in order for us to compensate for this.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there you go. 700 cubic inches. How many horsepower?
Can make up to 2,000 horsepower, Barry.
All right, let's go inside the cockpit. Okay, Glenn, what was that? Why did we do it?
What we do there, Barry, is we purge the air out of the nitrous oxide system. We have to do that every time, just before we race, we leave the starting line. We have to get all the air out of the system. Because we have any air in the system, the car can bog, and we don't want that. We want to leave with all the horsepower we can up from the starting line.
All right. Well, as you can see by looking at the interior of this Pro Mod, this is not a standard interior. First of all, Glenn, we've got the steering wheel. That's standard. But after that, it's completely different. First of all, you're sitting inside a cage. Tell us about that.
The cage is a chromoly chassis. It has to be inspected annually every year. They check the tubing for safety and everything. We have a 5-point seat belt that's got to be certified every 2 years. We have to get that certified. So there's a lot of extensive safety equipment in the car. They want you to be safe in the car at high-speed impacts, and they want the driver to walk away.
All right, that's very important. And this cage that's around you is capable of taking how much pressure?
It's hard to say. Like, I mean, we're capable of going 200 miles an hour, so it has to withstand that kind of speed.
Okay, inside this car to your right-hand side, first of all, there's a couple of big bottles over here. Glenn, what's that?
These are our nitrous oxide bottles. We run two 10-pound bottles. That's for both systems on the car. That's a fire bottle. It's mandatory. We have to have a fire system in the vehicle in case there ever is an accident.
Dead center in the middle on your right-hand side, there's 3 big levers in there. What's that?
These are our shift levers. This one is our forward gear and reverse gear. And then on this car, we run, normally we run a 4-speed. On this one here, we're running a 3-speed. And we just keep pulling them back like this.
And away you go.
And away you go.
So give us a demonstration then, Glenn, as to when you get to the starting line, you're getting ready to race, all the procedures that you go through.
Okay, first of all, when I'm at the starting line, we have to have the nitrous bottles are open. We have to make sure all our gauges and the computer is on, and then we have our purge solenoid, that has to be on. We step in the clutch. I have this button on top here is for a line lock, locks the front brakes so we don't red light, and holds the car there. We put our foot on the gas, and then concentrate really hard on the tree. When that tree turns yellow, we go, because if we wait for the green, we slept or had a coffee or whatever. then as soon as that light turns green, we pop the clutch and then start pulling levers. And then after that, we reach up here and pull the chutes.
So that is your lifesaver right at the top end here.
Yes, it is, Barry. You can't forget this, because if you hit the brakes before you pull the chutes, you're going for a loop.
Thanks for the tour through the cockpit, Glenn. Besides racing being very serious business, there is a lighter side at times, and I want to talk about the parachutes. You were racing in Edmonton, I believe, against Lee Franks, won the race, and almost forgot to pull the lever.
Yes, I was. I was so excited. I went through the finish line and I was looking for Lee, and I thought, he's coming by me, and I never seen him, and then, oops, there we go, no chutes, and pulled him late, but I managed to stop and went off the end of the track, and had all the safety safari guys running for cover, and they didn't know what was going on.
Thank goodness you're back here to talk about it.
Yes, I was, at that point, I didn't know what to think. I mean, like I said, everything slows down, and my heart was just a-pumping on that. I had to do a lot of serious driving on that one.
You were saying, Glenn, that this will be the last year, or maybe the last year, that the propane-powered Pro Mod, the IROC, is going to be racing on alternative fuel propane. Why is that?
Due to lack of funding. It costs a lot of money to race this car, and we're looking for a propane sponsor, but by the looks of it, this will be the last year for the world's fastest propane-powered car. We're going to retire the propane on it, and but who knows yet? We might be able to still find somebody, but by the looks of it, this is going to be the last year.
Are you a little surprised that, you know, the propane companies haven't stepped up? Because everybody's looking at alternative fuels. You constantly hear about the ozone layer, so it would only seem natural to me that they would want to promote this as a fuel.
Yeah, I'm very surprised, Barry, because it is a cleaner burning fuel. I mean, it's different, and we tried to show people over the years that it has the power, it's cleaner burning, and but due to lack of interest, I mean, it just floors me after 20 years racing with this fuel that it's going to come to an end.
Hope you've enjoyed this installment of Barry's Automotive Adventures. I'd like to thank Glenn Sully for touring us through Non-Toxic 2. Gotta go. This is Barry Davies for In Gear!
Did you know that in some small towns in the U.S., early speed traps didn't even have police cars to chase down the speeders? All the police had to do was shoot out the tires. They were authorized to do that, so it's a good thing that they've changed the way that they do that now. Now they just chase us down, so a little bit better. Auto World News tonight. It looks as though Cadillac will win the race to put internet access in the hands of drivers. They're going to put it to the highway first. Beginning with select 2001 models, Cadillac will option the multifunctional infotainment center, is what they're calling it, that will combine internet access, navigation assistance, voice recording, cell phone integration, and several other functions. Those other functions include General Motors' ongoing OnStar customer assistance service, which itself gets some new functions. The infotainment center will be available on next year's DeVille's and Seville models. The equipment was developed by GM's Delphi Automotive System, and they're going to be calling it the Communiport Infotainment PC Radio. Hopefully they're going to shorten that up just a little bit. No matter what the name, the heart of the unit will be a PC running Microsoft Windows CE, which will sure to be very impressive. And if you'd like to go in a different direction than into the future, you can go back a little ways. We've seen this before. For those who feel they spend too much of their lives on the road and away from home, Maytag and the Ford Motor Company have a suggestion. It's a minivan with a kitchen, den, and laundry room all built in. In an odd convergence of corporate interests, Ford, along with Maytag, have got together to build a concept Windstar. The Windstar, vehicle being unveiled at the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show in Chicago, is meant to judge customer reaction to the idea of car appliances. What they're planning to do in this Windstar is put a small microwave oven in the back, washer and dryer, along with other entertainment as well features. So something to look forward to from Ford and Maytag down the road. This week in racing, Mark Martin wins in Martinsville, the 8th winner in 8 races to start off the NASCAR season. The top 5 right now, Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin. In 3rd place, Ward Burton, Jeff Burton, his brother, in 4th, and Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, in 5th place. F1 pit stops played a major role in Michael Schumacher's win at San Marino on the weekend. Mika Hakkinen came out in front after the first pit stop, but Schumacher managed to stay out longer before his second stop was super quick. Hakkinen was second, followed by teammate David Coulthard, with Ruben Berticello ending up in fourth place. Jacques Villeneuve, the Canadian driver, ended up in fifth overall, a respectable finish in this, I believe, the second race of the season. No IRL race this weekend, and CART got snowed out, yes, snowed out in Nazareth. And to finish off, seeing as we had Barry's classic automotive adventure with Glenn and his dragster, I thought we'd talk a little bit NHRA. Top fuel dragster winner on the weekend at the very first race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the brand new strip there. Kenny Bernstein in the Budweiser King dragster with an elapsed time of 4:09:07 and a 2:82.78 top speed. And in the funny car, it was Jim Epler in the WWF Racing Firebird with an elapsed time of 4.983 seconds and a little bit quicker than the top fuel dragster, 3:02.21. So kind of insane on the weekend for racing. I love it.
I do too. I love watching every Sunday.
The hockey playoffs have started, but we have got tons of racing. And what we've got right now, folks, on screen is a beautiful, beautiful model that we got from the folks at Bennett Dunlop Ford. It is a 1935 Duesenberg SJ Roadster, and you can see the fantastic detail that has gone into this model. Duesenberg was a king of the road in the 30s, costing between $20,000 to $25,000. And was the domain of the very, very rich. Film legend Gary Cooper bought the first SSJ, a 35 model. The elegant car was a fitting statement for the actor known for his portrayals of the quintessential American hero. They were supercharged with a 420 cubic inch, 420 cubic inch, 8 to produce a 320 horsepower and a top speed of about 150 miles an hour. I'm going to just grab this beauty and flip it around a little bit. You can see just the tremendous detail that has gone into the making of this model. You can open up both hoods, both sides of the hood, pardon me, and you can also open all the doors, and you can just see some of the total detail that's gone in, even up and underneath. Hey, look, there's got to be a muffler on there somewhere now. I don't know where it is. It's got to be there someplace. But just tremendous, tremendous detail right down to the spokes on the wheels and again, all the doors opening up. So thank you very much to the folks from Bennett Dunlop Ford for letting us have this on the set tonight. We're gonna keep that there, and we'll leave it on the other side and take a look. Just a little bit. That's a beautiful car. I don't know. Can you guys fix mufflers? Put new mufflers on that one?
I'd find a way to do it. That's for darn sure.
Just to keep it in the shop. Probably a little longer than the half an hour that it normally takes you, though, right?
It'll take me about a week or so, I think.
I think so, just to keep that one down there.
Yeah.
It was an interesting race weekend. You know, you and I, while we're here and while we have a little time, we can talk about racing. You're a street stock racer out at Kings Park Speedway. Car is coming along nicely.
It's coming. It's coming along. We got some body work left to do, and waiting for the motor to get done for us. And just working on the axles right now. Just changing some studs in them, go with some little bit stronger ones. Other than that, same car as last year. A little bit more cosmetic work done to it.
A little bit on the front end. I know you guys had that great fiberglass front end on it.
Right.
And how did that hold up? It was all right?
Oh, it was excellent, actually. I was in one good little doozy of an accident there with it, and my partner just reached over and popped the nose out, and she was back to straight again. Right
and away we go.
Yeah.
Best exhaust out there on the track, isn't it? Underneath that car?
I sure hope so.
And mine too, because you did mine. So,
sure
you know,
so.
that's all right. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Dual exhaust. That's a lot of the guys, when they're trying to work on their older hot rods, you see that a lot on a lot of the performance cars, even the Camaros and the Firebirds, you see that out of the factory. What's that going to do for a person?
An older vehicle, anything like that, it's probably going to give you a little bit more horsepower out of the vehicle. A lot of guys that we see are actually customizing the vehicles or putting a bigger motor in, getting more horsepower out of the vehicle, and you need better breathing out of the system. And that's a lot what a dual exhaust will do for you. It gets a lot more of the gases out sooner, and they always go with a bigger pipe, of course, as well too. So dual exhaust will help you to a certain point. Too big of a pipe will actually hurt your performance of your car as well too. Like my own stock car, maximum we can run this year is 2.5 inch. I think you guys can run 3 inch on yours as well too. So a little more horsepower in your car than mine, I'm assuming. So usually the bigger the pipe you go, there are certain formulas to actually think about for that as well too. Say a 300 horsepower car, say like a Monte Carlo with a 350 in there, a single 3-inch system is adequate for 300, 350 horsepower. Anything more than that, you should be going like with a 2.5 inch dual or 3.5 inch or 4 inch pipe.
If I've got single exhaust on my vehicle now, can I modify that? Can I turn it into dual
A
exhaust?
lot of vehicles you can. Basically anything with V6 or V8, most times you can actually convert to a dual exhaust system. 4 cylinders, a little bit harder to do. You really can't run a true dual exhaust on there. You can Y it out after the muffler or split it out in front of the muffler and then run 2 mufflers that way.
Is that really going to do anything for you though?
Some people seem to think it is.
Yeah.
Usually on the 4-cylinder, I would just suggest going with just a larger pipe on it. Like we do a fair bit of Hondas and Volkswagens you see around town. And we're usually running between 2¼ and 2½ inch pipe on those cars.
Folks, if you've got some questions on exhaust, and we're going to get into shocks and struts as well, and we could probably talk about brakes if we really want to as
Sure,
well,
no
right?
problem.
Or racing, whatever you like. The phone number is up on the screen right now. 565-5376 is, of course, the number. You can give us a call, and as I said, we can talk about exhaust, we can talk about shocks, or anything you like, racing as well. So give us a call at, again, 565-5376. A lot of the times you see some blue smoke or black smoke coming out the back. Can you attribute any of that to the exhaust system? Or is that coming from the engine itself?
More than likely, if it's a black smoke, it's coming from the engine, or even a blue, like a leaky valve or a leaky valve seal, bad piston ring, something like that, causing that. Black is usually at a rich condition where you're just getting too much fuel into the system there. A rich situation can actually affect your converter very badly because it can actually plug it up. A lot of times you hear people say, oh, my converter's plugged up. A lot of times we cut it out and it is. It's a good sign of a bad converter as well too is lack of power, lack of acceleration, and just poor running vehicle.
Backfiring, is that going to be part of the exhaust system? Is that going to do that at all? Is that going to cause a backfire?
Usually not. Usually a backfire is actually raw fuel actually getting into the muffler and getting excessive heat buildup in there, or a spark from the engine like that, and boom, that's your backfire. It can be a bad valve or something in the head as well too.
All right, it looks like we've got a call, so let's go to that. Good evening, welcome. You're on In Gear.
Oh, is this Joe?
It is Joe.
Hi, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I was wondering if you could tell me when the first racing event is at Kings Park Speedway.
Oh, sure. Let me see. It's May 21st is the opening enduro, and then it's probably, I think we take a couple of weeks off before the first race meet, or do we go right after?
May 28th, it's a Sunday, and we start at 2 o'clock that afternoon. Then it's every second Saturday after that.
Kelly, my handy cameraman, also has his King Park schedule. I have it all on the internet. I go and take a look at that, and I'll tell you where to go, but that's why I didn't know it off the top of my head. But yeah, May 21st is the opening enduro. May 28th is the first race event, which this year is actually a Sunday. So we've gone the first race meet and the last race meet, instead of the Saturday night, we've gone to the Sunday. So hopefully it's not all that chilly on the Sunday afternoon.
Is there going to be any mini NASCAR races?
There actually is definitely going to be. The Baby Grands are going to be there, I believe, 2 times this year. First time is going to be not as big of an evening, and I'm not sure exact the numbers that we're going to have out for the Baby Grands. And then the first weekend in September, we've got the Baby Grands National Event, and I think we've talked 20 to 30 to 40 cars.
Yeah, actually, they're expecting probably about 40 cars, and it's a 2-day event for that one, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So some special events coming up, including those. Those were the ones you were talking about, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Anything else at all?
Love the show.
Thanks very much. Hey, if you want to see the complete schedule, you can go a few places. You can go, of course, to www.kingsparkspeedway.com, and if you like, you can also go to www.wbm Racing. We've got Bridge City Speedway in Saskatoon and Kings Park on there. So, thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, it looks like we've got another call. Let's go right there. Good evening. Welcome to In Gear.
Hi, how are you?
Not bad. Yourself?
Oh, good.
Good.
My question is, I was wondering, how come Regina never built a drag strip in their city?
Well, I've only been here for about 3 years, and you know, there's lots of guys go up and race at SIR up in Saskatoon, and I don't have a really good answer. Maybe have you heard at all about that, Dale?
It was about 4 years ago. We actually had a gentleman come to one of our club meetings there, and he was trying to get some support for that. The whole Stock Car Club was behind it because it would have actually complemented both racing fields. I just think the financial bit wasn't exactly there for him for what he wanted to do. He wanted a first-class #1 facility. He just could not get the big backing that he needed for it.
Yeah, because it would be nice to have one in Regina too. Like I go to Saskatoon quite a bit in the summertime, and I like it there. But yeah, it would have been nice to have one in the city too. It would have been a little closer for some people.
Yeah, we'd like to have one out at the track too. I was actually in Calgary last year, and it was really neat seeing stock car track and quarter mile all within 100 feet of each other.
Yeah, they've got it all there at Race City. They've got the road course as well. You know, even up in Saskatoon, Bridge City Speedway in the next couple of years is going to have to be moving, and they're talking about trying to put them both together there as well, so hopefully that can happen. And if nothing else, at least we've still got the one. I know lots of guys travel up from Regina and go to the races, so maybe sometime down the road. Did you see Vegas on the weekend? Did you see the brand new speedway they built there?
Yeah, I watched it for about, I think it was 40 minutes, and it looked nice. It looked nice.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we need right here, eh?
Yeah, that'd be deadly. Oh, man, that'd be nice.
Exactly. Anything else on shocks or mufflers at all?
No, I was just wondering pretty much about that track, and I was always wondering about that and just actually thinking who to ask, and I thought I'd give you guys a try.
Not a problem. Thanks very much for calling.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, we've got another caller on the line. We're going to have them hold for just a moment. What we are going to do right now is we are going to continue with the racing theme a little bit. We're going to take a look. Paul Eitner has been building a car from the ground up, a Cast Car Sportsman from the ground up. So it is now time to go and take a look at the Racer's Edge with Paul Eitner here on In Gear.
Hi, I'm Paul Eitner. Welcome to Racer's Edge. Last time we started putting on some of the roll cage for you, and today we're going to be finishing that off. Since we have fewer than 60 days left until the first race date, we're going to have to shift up a gear and get things rolling.
To start with, we'll be placing an X structure dash bar to a support bar that is directly behind the driver. As you can see, the structure is placed 19 inches up from the lower frame rails. This structure will consist of the 3 bars. From here, we'll go to the driver's side of our chassis. Our Cast Car rules call for a minimum of 4 door bars running parallel to the main frame, with 2 vertical bars between each of these door bars. This will give the driver maximum protection from a side impact on the racetrack. Now on to the front. Here we will be attaching a piece of tubing from the main cage structure to the front of the frame by using a minimum of 2 vertical supports. This will be done on each side of the car. The bar we're adding here will give us extra protection in the area of where the driver's feet are during racing. To finish our cage, at the rear we will be placing 2 rear support bars from the top of the main hoop to the main frame. As well, there will be a vertical bar placed in between them for extra support. Here we're adding a 10-inch piece of tubing in length. This connects the rear support bar to the frame. Thereby, a V-structure is obtained for added strength. The final support bars that we're adding are going from the rear dash to the box frame. One tube on the inside and one tube on the outside. This is done on both sides of the chassis. These bars that we have added in here will give us extra strength during a race in case we are hit on the quarter panels. Well, here we have the completed chassis for our cast car, which is going to be racing out at Kings Park. And today a special thanks to Russell Metals and Ross Machine Shop for supplying the tubing and the steel for our car, and RSC Rentals for the use of their pipe bender. I'm Paul Eitmeyer for Racer's Edge. See you next time.
Did you know that the famed Ford Model T was in fact actually a multi-purpose vehicle? What the farmers could do was mount tractor tires on the Model T and use them in the fields. I was not aware of that. I don't know, I don't think you could do that with a lot of vehicles these days anymore.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
No, you rip a lot of stuff off, I think.
Folks, a couple things I want to remind you about, not this weekend, but the Easter weekend up in Saskatoon, the Dragons Rod and Custom Car Show, and the following weekend right here in Regina, Majestics is coming up. The 34th or 35th annual. Next week we're going to have Dave on from the Majestics. We're going to keep you all up to date on what's going to be going on the Majestics Car Show. So make sure you're here next Thursday, and then make sure you're actually at the Majestics Car Show as well the last weekend. Dale, we've got another caller, so let's, they've been waiting patiently. Let's go there. Good evening, welcome.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good, yourself?
Good, thanks. I got a quick question for Dale if you got a sec. I got an older El Camino. It's about a 76 Camino. I'm throwing a fuel-injected motor into,
Okay.
you know, for fuel purposes. But I wanted to throw headers onto it. Now the thing is, I got the computer and everything else, and I want to do, you know, the O2 sensors. Do I have to stick with the old manifolds, or can I go with a set of headers? Do they make a set that have, you know, an O2 sensor port in them?
Oh yeah, like a lot of places you can buy like an O2 sensor ready headers for them. Just look around, any parts place you'll be able to find just set that are for that particular vehicle. And that, like, you going with like a throttle body one, or what kind of motor are you going in this?
Yeah, it's a TBI that's going into it, yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to find headers for those.
Okay, are they expensive, or are they pretty much something you can pick up?
Probably not looking much more than any other regular set of headers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If not, you can always buy plugs for the headers to actually screw the O2 sensors in.
Oh, right on. Okay, thanks very much.
No problem.
Hope that helped.
Yep.
Great, thank you very much for calling. All right, and actually we've got someone on line one as well, so we are going to go there right now. Good evening and welcome. You're on In Gear.
Yes, I had a question. My big concern is I have a Ford truck with a 351 in it. I'm wondering if putting dual exhaust on it's going to do much better as far as gas mileage for me.
On a 351, it's a fuel injected one.
Yeah, it's a 94, and the 351 they're a little tough on gas, and I was wondering if going to dual exhaust would give me the better gas mount.
You'll probably gain some out of it. What you may want to try before you actually do that, on that truck there, you've actually got 2 converters on there. Good suggestion, but actually take the back converter out first, see what kind of mileage you actually gain out of that, instead of going like a full dual exhaust system.
Oh, so just start off with removing the back converter and see what kind of difference that makes?
Right.
So would it make a difference if I were to put a muffler on that would have a little better flow to it rather than the factory one?
It would probably help a little bit. I can't see why it wouldn't. You know, the better flow to the system you can get, the freer flow it's going to go.
Right, right. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling. Bye-bye. We are busy on the phones tonight, which is a good thing. Yeah. So we'll see if we can get to shocks. We may just continue on with exhaust and have you back again.
Sure.
There you go. Okay, let's continue on, though. We've got someone on line 1. Good evening and welcome to In Gear.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, yourself?
Very casual, thank you.
Always a plus to be casual.
Absolutely. I see some of them really fancy cars out there running their shock absorbers upside down, those Pro 4 guys, like that Gary Clem and that Dan Collins guy. How can they do that?
How can they do that?
Why do they do that?
Why do they do that? I don't know, Dan. You should tell me why you do that. But a lot of times it all depends on the design of the shock. Some you can do, some you can't.
Basically what you want to do is there's sprung and unsprung weight, and I don't want to get too far into it because I don't know a lot about it. I have a guy that knows that. But the more weight that you can move in a different direction is going to take the weight off when you're going into the corners. It's going to make a great difference. So I don't know, you want to do that on your road car? I don't think that's something you want to do. Or do you see that at all, guys flipping them?
No, we don't see that at all. Most guys just leave them in the stock position and stuff.
Did that help?
Sure.
All right then.
Doing a good job, guys.
Thanks very much for calling. All right. I think we will get into shocks now that we're talking about them a little bit. And let's start off right with the shock. We've got one here tonight, so let's hold that up. And something you guys do a ton of, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was actually the season right after the snowfall went away there. Did a lot of shocks, a lot of suspension work right after that. Picks up usually right about then.
Different parts and pieces, really, they're all pretty much the same, are they not? Other than size, is that where the shock difference starts to come in?
Like the differences wise actually on the inside of the shock themselves. Different manufacturers have got different valving systems that are on the inside of these. I don't have a cutaway. I wish I would have had one to actually bring down and show today. But a lot of differences is actually on the inside of the shock itself. You're just saying about the shocks being upside down and stuff. These ones should not be put in upside down. Okay.
No? Okay.
Most normal street vehicles, they're designed to go in a certain way, and that's the way they're supposed to be.
So you don't want to be flipping those ones upside down?
No, if you can find a way to flip this upside down in the car, I'd like to learn how they're doing it, because they got certain mounts on them and you can't really flip them around at all.
What are some easy signs? I mean, you can hear some signs and feel some signs. Right. Can you see some signs on a shock as well if you take a look at it?
Definitely. A lot of times you'll see a little bit of a dampness right around the top of the shock or right around the body of the shock itself. That doesn't necessarily mean that the shock is actually bad or worn out. A little bit of, we call it sweating, is not really a major deal. If it's wet or a bunch of dirt caked to it, it's definitely a sign of a physical failure on the inside or the seal is actually gone.
I want to hold this up just again. Is this something you guys can replace, or is this something that's going to go away versus the whole shock itself?
Most times the mounts themselves will last longer than the shock will, just because of the durability of the rubber and stuff that they use in them. I think I've only ever replaced maybe one shock or one shock bushing. That's been quite a few years I've been replacing shocks for too. So more than likely it's going to wear out on the inside or get externally bent or something like that before the bushings really wear out.
And you're going to start to hear your shocks go away or feel them more?
You probably feel them more. Actually, you probably won't notice them at all. That's because you drive your vehicle so much that you're not going to really notice it's getting a little bit softer here, softer there. A lot of people say, well, my brother drove my car and said it feels really soft in the front end. Okay, so it's a different perspective. Basically, you should get your suspension looked at least once a year anyways. A lot of manufacturers recommend 20, 30,000 kilometers, 5 to 6 oil changes. Get them looked at. That's where you're going to find a little problem as well.
Safety measure as well, eh?
Definitely. a lot of times you don't notice them. You notice them even when you're braking, your front end will dive down. That's a good sign of a worn shock or worn struts in the front end there. Squeaking or groaning sometimes can be a shock problem or strut problem. Anything else like that, or the washboard feeling sometimes, it's a good indication that there's worn out shocks, and usually in the back of the vehicle. You feel that more in the back of the car. So.
Okay. We've got a couple more calls, so let's get right to them. Good evening, welcome. You're on In Gear.
Hi. I have a 1997 Dodge Avenger, and its warranty is coming up for expiration in June. And I'm just wondering if you could tell me some of the areas in the exhaust system that I should pay special attention to having checked over prior to the warranty running out.
Well, how many kilometers do you have on the vehicle?
55,000.
55,000. I'm not really sure on the Dodge Avengers. I've only ever worked on 2 of those, actually. Just take it into any shop, any place. They'll just take a quick look at it for you. Do you notice any like loudness out of it, or rattling, or anything like that out of the exhaust at all?
No, nothing yet, but you did mention earlier that there could be something going on internally that I might not be able to see from the outside, so I'm just wanting to make sure that if there is something that should be covered by the warranty, that it's covered prior to the warranty running out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Just bring it to any shop there, and just get somebody to take a look at it, and you can go from there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller.
Okay.
All right. We'll go to line 2. Good evening. You're on In Gear.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm fine.
Good.
At one time, I think you had to take shock absorbers when they come out of the box and turn them upside down and pull them apart to like preload them or prime them. Do you still have to do that?
Not that I'm aware of. We just pull them right out of the box and install them. That might have been, I don't know, how long ago are you talking?
Oh, years ago. Just wondering if they've changed the valving in them or anything like that, and I guess they're primed and ready to go.
Yeah, you may be thinking maybe the old oil shocks. They really didn't have any gas charge in them, so they would actually stay in one position in the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So no, like nowadays they're actually charged with a nitrogen gas that actually, as soon as you pull it out of the box, you pull this retainer apart, and they should shoot right out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. All right, another call, line 3. Let's go there. Good evening and welcome. You're on In Gear.
Hi, I have an 83 Mustang GL, and I'm wondering what kind of shocks would you recommend for the front end on that?
Actually, on your car, I believe you should have struts on that one. 83 Mustang?
Yeah,
right,
I do have struts on it.
Yeah, you'd actually have struts in the front there. With the struts there, there's many different manufacturers. They all have different systems on the inside there. Just a 6-cylinder, this one, I'm assuming then, right?
Yeah, straight 6.
Right. You can actually get different qualities as well too. Depends on what you want to pay for a set of struts for that.
Okay. Is it possible to get the air struts where you can fill them up to either raise or lower it?
I'm not really sure for that particular model. I'm not really up on the air systems for those kind of cars. You may want to try some of the parts suppliers or some hot rod magazines or something like that.
Are there air struts out there though? I mean, I've seen lots of air shocks, and that's one thing I have never seen was air struts. Really?
Some of the Lincolns are real pain sometimes. The Lincoln Town Cars and stuff like that. They come with a four air strut system in these, and these are a real pain in the butt to work on, actually.
Nice ride though, I would imagine.
Oh, excellent ride out of them, but they're hard to work on when you do have to work on them.
Did that help you, sir?
Yes, it did.
All right, thank you very much for calling. So struts, we've got a strut as well. Why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Actually, I've got 2 different kinds of struts here. This is just a regular kind of strut from a rear of a Honda. Basically what it is, you've got a mounting point on the bottom, you've got a spring perch on the middle, usually in the middle of the strut you'll have a place where the coil spring would actually sit in. And then you got your mounting point up in the top that would actually go up through the fender of the vehicle or up into the rear fender of the vehicle. And we also do have this is like just a regular strut. This is actually a strut cartridge. Actually, this type here would actually fit on the inside of a housing on some vehicles. This particular one is for a Chevy Lumina for the front of the vehicle, and actually you don't take the whole strut assembly out at all. You need special tools to actually take this one in and out. This is not something that somebody can really change at home by themselves, this one here especially. And even the struts, they shouldn't be taken apart at home because the coil spring that's actually in there has got a lot of pressure on it. You undo the upper mount, and it will come at your,
A lot of
noodle.
parts and pieces flying off, and you don't want to
Right,
start to
and
get into
you
that.
don't want them coming apart, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. We've got one more call, and let's get to it. Thank you very much for being on In Gear. What can we do for you?
I have a 1980 Ford RV. It's on a Vanguard, and it has a 351 in it. Now, the darn thing is pretty hard starting. I was wondering if a person could put a manual choke on there. Would it work?
Is it a fuel-injected motor or just a...
No, it's not, no.
It's a carbureted engine?
Yes.
I would have to assume you could. I would just check with the trailer places here in town, or some of the deals, like especially with engine-related problems. Definitely.
Do they have a history of hard starting?
To tell you the truth, I don't know offhand.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your call.
Right.
Well, Dale, we don't have a lot of time left. I think we've gone through most of the parts and pieces. Lots of great calls tonight, though. People with lots of questions. If they've got some more, where can they come down and see you and get those inspections that we were talking about done and get some work done as well?
Actually, myself, I'm at the South Midas, 4545 Albert Street South. Then we do have a North Midas as well, too. They're at 149 Albert Street North. You talk to Larry or Kim up at the north one there, Rick or Andrew or myself at the South store.
A lot of the times, book an appointment, or can you kind of show up at the front door?
You can do either one. You want to come in anytime you want, you can just stop by Monday to Friday, 8 to 5:30, Saturday, 8 to 4. If you want an appointment for a certain time, you've only got, you know, an hour for lunch, whatever, you need something looked at, you know, pretty quickly. We can usually do it fairly quickly for you in that time there.
We also want to talk a little bit about, before we get done, some of the performance shocks. I know we had just brought up air shocks, and that, you know, you used to see a lot on the old cars, the air shocks, where you could raise up that back end if you're sagging a little bit. Something you guys do at all?
We have done a few sets of those. Like we do stock some rear air struts for some cars actually in our inventory. We have adapted some cars for the air struts in the back. A lot of times it's not really the trucks or vans or anything like that. It's more the family cars that they feel a little bit's not quite riding right in the back there, and we have put a few air systems in.
Can you get my car bouncing up and down like this, like you see in like East LA and that? Can you get that going
for
on?
some money and some hydraulics, sure.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of work,
that.
though. Exactly. Performance exhaust as well. The Rhino. You want to come down and see you guys for that too?
Sure. Yeah, we got basically anything we can do. We got mufflers that'll fit most vehicles.
Anything else the folks should know specifically? What are the main signs of your muffler going away?
Basically, just any loud noises, rattles, bangs, hanging off especially, anything like that. Any rattling, you rev the vehicle up and you hear a little bit of tinny rattling, stuff like that, or a popping noise. Definitely signs of mufflers actually starting to go.
We really appreciate you being on again. We've done brakes, we've done exhaust, we've done a lot of things now. We'll have you back again. Thanks very much for coming on.
You betcha, anytime.
Folks, we want to invite you down to the Boston Pizza location. Tonight, we're going to go to Quant Street. Dale, you going to come?
I think so.
All right.
My wife's not expecting me. So.
Oh, good. Well, there you go.
She's watching. But.
We'll go have a little bit of pizza, talk a little bit about cars. So we want to see you to come down to the Quant Street location. And we want to see you back here next Thursday night. Christopher Riley, go to bed. Join us again, folks, next Thursday night right here on Channel 7 for In Gear.
Boston Pizza. Come and get it all. The Regina Automobile Dealers Association. And Kings Park Speedway. We're kicking asphalt.
Super Channel and Movie Max. You want to see great movies, and you want to see them when you want to see them, and you want to see them the way you want to see them. Always unedited and uninterrupted. And that's always Super Channel and Movie Max. You won't believe the convenience, value, and variety. Unforgettable films and Hollywood hits. 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Super Channel and Movie Max. Seeing is believing.
Life is worth celebrating, and Habitat Fund for Our Heritage offers an opportunity to celebrate life's special moments. Graduations, anniversaries, retirements, with a special gift that will honor both the giver and the event. At the same time, gifts to the fund will help protect and conserve our precious habitat for generations to come. Why not commemorate those special milestones in your own life with a donation to Habitat Fund for Our Heritage? Call us at 1-800-665-DUCK and celebrate life.
No one has a lot of time to prepare meals these days, but it really doesn't take long to whip up something tasty and healthy. As part of a healthy diet, we should eat between 5 and 10 servings of vegetables and fruit a day. It could reduce the risk of cancer, heart disease, and stroke. It's easy. 2 servings, 2 servings. Quick, tasty, and healthy. Vegetables and fruits. Are you getting enough?
Matter, and we're at a very exciting event that's being held here at the Regina Inn, the first ever Iron Chef Challenge to be held in Regina. Now, it's been organized by the Regina District Academy of Chefs and Cooks, and it promises to be a great evening. There's 2 teams, and they're just rearing to go.
We'll have a hot food section of 2 people, and we'll have the rest of the people prepping and doing the garnishes and that for the appetizer. And then when the crucial time comes, what we'll do is we'll mend together, make sure everything's proper, and we'll start piecing it together. And what the hot people will do is that they'll lay it out in the chafing dish, and then the garnish people will come up behind them and set it all up.
We're getting ready as soon as we figure out exactly what we're going to be cooking. This is, I guess, the most nerve-wracking part of this is finding out what you're going to be cooking. And once we figure out that, then we can make up a menu and start our prep work and carry on.
I'm not so much nervous. I'm curious as to what's in the black box, because like the ingredients back here is a wide variety, and they've given us an assortment of spices and ingredients. So I'm curious.
So are you a little nervous about the fact that, you may all have some ideas of your own?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think that's going to add to the overall fun of this, and with their expertise, as long